When you need help in the backcountry and you hit the SOS button on your device, the last thing you want to do is be thinking about what this is going to cost you. And even in an area like the Grand Canyon, where a helicopter ride, say from the bottom to the South Rim, would normally be free if you have a medical situation that warrants it, what if that helicopter is somewhere else and the rescue coordinator needs a private helicopter? Or what if your situation is so critical that they need a specialized air ambulance to come in from, say, Flagstaff that has medical equipment and medical personnel on board? You just don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea. And again, you don't want to be thinking about what something costs when you hit that button. And that's where this new service called Overwatch and Rescue comes in. It's revolutionary. There's nothing out there like it right now. And I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of folks. Now, first of all, it's an SOS subscription service. It's not insurance. So you don't get the bill, file a claim, take out your deductible, wait for an adjuster to approve it or not approve it, haggle over that. None of that stuff happens. You pay one annual fee, just like you do for like AAA or something like that. And if there is a charge associated with your rescue, you call them up, you send them the bill, and they pay it. There's no deductible. There's no limits. You could go out and have, 3 or 4 different helicopter rescues. Hopefully not, but they will cover that. It's just one price per year, and that's covered. Just like with AAA, you get 5 flats in a year. They're going to come out and fix your flat 5 times. It's the same thing. Some other policies, you have to pay more depending on your activity, and you even have to pay more, sometimes a lot more, depending on the altitude you're doing that at. With this, that's not the case.
You're out enjoying the great outdoors. You're hunting, fishing, hiking, biking, cycling, whatever you're doing. Something happens, you need emergency assistance. We're going to coordinate that assistance. If there's financial exposure tied to that assistance, it's a rescue helicopter, it's a ground ambulance. And look, over 200,000 rescues occur in the United States alone every single year that include a ground ambulance. The average cost of a ground ambulance is anywhere between $400 and $2,000, right? Many cases, you're paying for that. So it's value for money. One small fee up front for the year. You go out, enjoy the outdoors, go do it. We cover hazardous activities. It's an all-encompassing plan. We have no drawbacks, exclusions, limitations. There's no altitude, upsell. One product, one price, comprehensive, covers everything. Go out, enjoy, go a little further. Something happens, we've got your back.
Now, the other thing that's incredible and revolutionary about this is that it's device agnostic. If you have a Garmin inReach, if you have an iPhone 14 or newer that has satellite capabilities, if you have a Zoleo, a Spot, or any number of satellite communicators, you get a subscription, and then you can register up to 3 devices with that subscription. So if you have an inReach, an iPhone, and maybe a Zoleo, you can register them all. And for me, I use an inReach and an iPhone, and it's nice to know I can have those both hooked up to Overwatch and Rescue.
And so we have cooperation and a mutual support agreement in place, for example, with Garmin. And I think that's important because, by and large, Garmin dominates the satellite communications device market. And so we knew it was important to have a direct relationship with Garmin to ensure that there's a seamless experience for Garmin customers, as an example. If it's an Apple phone, we are in direct contact with and working with Apple to ensure there's a seamless experience. We want to make sure that there's no hiccups on the back end. So as long as you have the ability to text us, either through your device or through an app, you will receive service.
Sign up's pretty straightforward. Just go to the website, hit join now, put in your personal information, and then when you get here, you can pay with Apple Pay, credit card, whatever. You want to add the promotion code for 15% off, HikingGuy15, HikingGuy15, and you'll get 15% off. Then once you've paid, you just add your satellite devices. Again, you can add up to 3. You can do iPhone, and this is only in Canada and USA for the iPhone. And you can do satellite devices anywhere that you can buy them, and you just put your serial number in. And then from there, you enter your emergency contacts. It's pretty straightforward. Once you sign a device up, you'll get an email, and it will tell you the instructions for setting the device up and how to use it. But the gist of it is you set up a contact for Overwatch and Rescue. This is in the Garmin Messenger app. They'll give you a phone number to contact them on. And then they'll also give you some quick text that you can simply paste from the email into your quick text messages. And then when you want to contact Overwatch and Rescue, you just use your quick text on the Garmin to put that message in there, and you're good to go. You can send directly from your device too. Just go to send a message, choose Overwatch and Rescue, select the same quick text we had before, and then you can simply send the message and do the same thing on your device. Same idea on the iPhone, put the contact in. They give you a nice shortcut that you can launch. You can put it on your home screen. You can launch it with Siri. You can do a bunch of different things. But once you launch the shortcut, it'll put the latitude and longitude and queue up a message essentially to Overwatch and Rescue that you can simply send to start the emergency request. Now, once you've registered your devices, you're plugged into what I'm going to call the Overwatch and Rescue network. Now, I've seen roadside assistance plans, ones that come packaged with like credit cards, where it's basically a call center that forwards you to a tow truck company. This is the opposite of that. This is a purpose-built system in order to rescue people from hard-to-get places. It works worldwide, your coverage, so you can be anywhere. They have relationships with thousands of different search and rescue entities, including official, federal, down to the local level, and also volunteer groups. And when you hit the button, as opposed to a call center picking up your call, it's a crisis response center. There's one in Florida and there's one in South Africa. There's some redundancy there, covering different hemispheres, and it's handled by trained professionals in emergency services. And that goes back to Greg's background. Greg is a veteran. I'll let him explain what the team is like.
Spent a number of years in the U.S. Army, time served in the special operations community. Our staff are comprised of, former, military, as you would imagine. We're a veteran-founded, veteran-led, and heavy veteran-driven organization. So former military, special operations community, a lot of first responders, so EMTs, paramedics, a lot of heavy medical personnel, with the sprinkling of folks that have worked in sort of 911 dispatch centers, PSAPs, people that know how to deal with emotionally charged situations and sort of de-escalate in a very chaotic point in time to provide calm, coordinated assistance.
So over my career, prosecuted more than 3,000 search and rescue cases, either as that young person on the boat in the San Francisco Bay, or being the person, to make all the way up to the person making the final decision to suspend search activities, for example, and kind of everything in between. So I've gotten to get a lot of experience. I've met a lot of phenomenal people along the way. And now with Focus Point, I've had the opportunity to take a lot of that experience and work with our partner nations. And of course, Focus Point is uniquely positioned because they are a global search and rescue alerting post. And we focus on every type of distress incident you can imagine. It doesn't matter where it originates from. It doesn't matter where it is on the world. We have to be the experts to be able to reach into any nation for any type of response. So we maintain a very high level of competence for the people who we recruit in. And then, of course, we also have a very rigorous training program once they're upon us. So this is not a very junior level, entry level type position. We very specifically identify persons with a higher level of competency and with specialization. So it's not just that we have unique individuals who are highly competent in what they're doing, but that we look for a broad array of skill sets so that cumulatively, when you look at the staff inside of a CRC, you've got every kind of specialization you could imagine that we can consult and bring to bear for a particular response.
And the question I get asked all the time is, when is it okay to ask for help? I won't answer it. Let me let Matthew answer it, who knows a lot more about this than I do.
Ask for help as soon as possible. You have trained personnel on the other side of that phone that can ask questions, that can talk you through the circumstances and understand more. And they're going to make an independent determination. Is this person in distress? Do we need to act now? Meaning, do we even need to put responders in harm's way to come and save you from a situation? Or is there some apprehension here? They may or may not actually be in distress, but perhaps this is something that we need to monitor. As someone who's overseen thousands of incidents, I have seen people perish because they waited too long to call us. I've absolutely seen that more times than I would care to count. And of course, I've seen hundreds of circumstances where people call us and we're able to talk them through the circumstances they're in, de-escalate the situation, and even find good Samaritans in the nearby area to help assist them in the scenario they're in. There's always uncertainty, in any of these events. And that's where the training comes in. That's where our operational support specialists and our CRCs come in, because they're trained to take the information in, not just pass it by, but analyze that information, communicate with the person who may or may not be in distress, understand what's going on, and then prosecuting that response correctly.
So this highly trained team is going to get the right information from you. They have a proprietary software platform called Pulse where they can pull all kinds of different information. They're tied in with Rapid SOS, and they can go out to the PSAPs or 911 call centers. They're tied into all of these different systems. But their main job when they're figuring this out is to figure out exactly what the problem is and where you are. Maybe you're just lost and you need directions. Maybe you need, a helicopter evacuation. They are highly trained at getting that information and then putting it together and putting it kind of on a silver platter and handing it to the appropriate search and rescue entity. They're not going to do the search and rescue themselves, but they're going to give it to somebody. And when that search and rescue team gets this information from Overwatch and Rescue, they know that it's been vetted and packaged correctly, so they don't have to second guess the accuracy or validity of this distress call. They know this is legit, and they're going to get right to it. They don't have to do that investigation. So in that sense, it's going to actually save you some time. It's almost like having an interpreter from your situation to the search and rescue personnel. Now, one of the things that I really appreciate about Overwatch and Rescue that you don't find on a lot of other services is that once they give the information to that search and rescue team, they don't get off the line. They stay there until the search and rescue is completed and there is an outcome there. And that's a big difference, because if that search and rescue team, for some reason, can't perform the search and rescue, Overwatch and Rescue is going to advocate for, a result, somebody else to come in and perform the rescue, or they're going to make sure that people are actively trying to resolve your situation, which if it's just a handoff, that doesn't happen at all.
Amelia is a endurance athlete that was summiting a mountain in Argentina, fell, injured herself really bad, was immobilized, had a satellite communication device with an SOS button. She hit the button. She even videoed herself because she thought she was not going to make it. We had to coordinate with no less than 7 agencies. The first agency that we contacted said, "Sorry, we have no people. The weather's too bad. We're not going up the mountain." Now imagine that. And I think that's important to highlight, because one of the differentiators of the Overwatch and Rescue product versus, say, and it's no indictment on Apple, the Apple SOS experience is if you hit that SOS button on your Apple iPhone, it may send a signal and come back down and go to a ground station and then go to a relay center. That relay center is going to take that information and they're going to pass it off to a PSAP. Once they have positive communication with the PSAP, they disconnect and they're done. If we would have done that with Amelia and they said, "We got it," that would have been it. She would have died. Only when we called back to say, "What's your ETA?" is when they said, "The weather's too bad. We don't have assets. Sorry, we're not going." What do you mean you're not going? So we quickly had to pivot, go to another agency. Our fourth agency in, we said, "This is ridiculous." We went to the embassy. And we said, "This is happening. We need help." We had to coordinate with the embassy. The embassy then made some phone calls, got to the right group, found a private search and rescue outfit, which, by the way, I think we all know that the majority of search and rescue folks, even here in the United States, are all voluntary, right? That holds true in other countries as well. Found a group of individuals that were willing to go out in the weather, go out in the elements, get up that mountain and rescue her. We partnered with them and we went up and we got her and we brought her back down, got her to the medical facility where she had a number of surgeries. And I'm happy to tell you that she is now one of our brand ambassadors. She is obviously very thankful. And she is back out doing what she does, continuing to be an endurance athlete, summiting mountains, and now moving to Europe to take her show on the road.
We have an ethos that when we are alerted to an event, we don't let that event go until we know the positive outcome on the other end. It's not a fire and forget. We don't just deliver that information and then hope that a nation performs as it should. There are some nations out there whose search and rescue services are not up to the same competence level as maybe the US or the UK or these other well-developed nations with robust search and rescue systems. There are countries out there that are impoverished, that people go hiking in, going adventuring in, who might not have search and rescue services up to that level. And so we stay with that case from beginning to end. We don't let it go until we get positive confirmation that a rescue has been effected, that those persons in distress have been taken to a place of safety, and then we continue to monitor it as we need for, if we have to, move them, if someone is, suffering from a significant medical issue and we have to repatriate them to the U.S., of course, we organize those follow-on services as well. So we see the event from the time you press the button until the time you're safe at home with your loved ones, right? We are going to make sure that you are safe. And in that respect, Focus Point is more than just a search and rescue alerting post. We're really a global rescue coordination center. We coordinate the rescues from beginning to end, collaborating with those governmental organizations who are typically the boots on the ground.
All right, so let's say you've been rescued, you're at home a couple weeks, and you get stuck with a bill for a helicopter flight. Now, Overwatch and Rescue, like we said before, is not insurance, so you don't have to fill out a claim. You don't have to pay out of pocket and then get reimbursed. None of that. This is how it works.
Unlike insurance, you pay an insurance premium, and if you have a loss, which is another distinction, if you have a loss, there may be a deductible. You'll probably have to pay out of pocket, and then you'll have to submit a claim and go through a claims process to be reimbursed for however much you spent to get rescued. Maybe you paid that $2,000 ground ambulance bill. Now you're going to go through a claims process, hope you get approved, and then get reimbursed for that $2,000. With Overwatch and Rescue, we're a first payer product. And so all you have to do, whether it's on scene, notifying us, letting us know, hey, they're telling me there's a cost to get on this life flight. We never want you to have to decide, should I or should I not go for financial reasons, right? Get on the flight, right? We'll deal with it. We will deal directly with Life Flight and we'll pay that bill, right? 6 months later, if you get a bill in the mail, call us. Say, hey, I got a bill for that rescue you did 6 months ago. Send us the bill. We'll pay it directly, right? Don't pay it and then submit a claim to us because you don't have to, right? This is a service guarantee, like a warranty. So there is no out-of-pocket expense. There's no claims process. There's no deductible. There's no monetary limits, right? There are products in the market that will pay for a rescue, but they have monetary limits. Maybe some of them are up to $100,000. Well, I've seen rescues cost more than that, right? Some of them are even less, right? There's some out there that are less than $10,000, right, in financial benefit. And the average cost of a rescue helicopter is $28,000. So you're going to pay the difference? How does that work, right?
And there's even more features, kind of like icing on the cake features. They've really thought through the whole process of what you would need if you were in this situation. For example, if you have a car at the trailhead, they will get that car back to where it needs to be, even if it's a rental car. If your children are with you and your children need to get back somewhere, they will take care of that. If you are in a hospital somewhere, maybe overseas, and you need to get to another hospital for the proper medical care, they will take care of that. If you're overseas and you are alone, they will fly over a family member or loved one to be at your bedside with you. They've really thought of all aspects of this, rescue or emergency journey and have you covered through all of it. And that's what I really appreciate with this. It's not just some kind of like slap together service. It's really a well thought out service by professionals, which is why I'm going to be purchasing it. Now, if you want to learn more about this or if you have more questions, I did interviews with Matthew and Greg that are longer and kind of FAQ style. We'll hopefully answer any questions you have. I'll put links to those under this video and you can check those out as well. If you find this interesting, these interviews will be interesting. I geek out on this stuff and I really enjoyed learning a lot from those interviews. So links to those under the video here.
Whether you're a casual hiker or somebody training for Everest and everybody in between, you need this, right? It's value for money. It's the ultimate insurance product without all the nuance and clunkiness of an insurance product.